Today on Gary's Urban Larder, I'm making a beautiful bisque from the shells of the langoustine from a previous video. And it is beautiful, delicious, fragrant, and complex. So let's get started. First of all, I want to thank Jason, one of my subscribers, who requested that I make a bisque. After having made the langoustine and avocado salad, which you will see linked at the end of the video here, I have some leftover heads and shells from the langoustine. So we're going to make the bisque especially for Jason. And I hope you're doing well. And please leave a comment. Now I'll go over the ingredients. If you look at my website, www.garysurbanlarder.com, you'll find the full list of the ingredients and the recipe. So I've got the heads and shells, the carcass, and we're going to sear that first in some olive oil, which I'm just going to get on, about a couple of tablespoons of the olive oil. And I also have pulped the leftover tomato rosa that we're going to use, leftover red onion. So this is really eliminating food waste, this recipe. I've got some chopped fennel and leek, carrot, celery. We have our Pimentón de la Vera, which we'll use, a crushed clove of garlic, a bay leaf, and some dried thyme, and some tomato paste, some cognac, white wine, and some fish stock. So, in go our shells, the heads, and I'll get those going and just cooking quickly. That's on a medium heat. And I just want those to get a really deep, rich red color. So you can come in and you can take a look at that. And you can see how those are doing. So what I really want to get is a nice caramelization on the bottom of the pan, which will deglaze later to add flavor. So this takes about 6 to 8 minutes. And once that's done, I'll start to add our aromatics. The fennel, leek, the carrot, the celery, the onion, which will start to let that sweat down. So that is starting to get some really good color on it. And I'm just going to push those to one side. And then maybe a little drizzle more of olive oil. And we'll add in our aromatics. That's the leek and the fennel. Our onion, carrots, and celery. So I'm just going to let those really start to sweat on the bottom of the pan for a little while. And you can see how cozy it is inside this pan. Just come on in and take a look. So as they start to soften, we just want to stir that all together. Already, the fragrance that's coming is beautiful, really beautiful. So the one thing I can tell you about having a good bisque is time and patience. You need time for all of the flavors to develop, for all of these aromatics to become soft. So we will cook this for another 8 to 10 minutes before adding our tomato pulp, tomato paste, and some of our pimentón. So after that, we will start to deglaze the pan by using the cognac, and we'll flambé that. So, I mean, really, if I can give you one tip, it's to really let the bit stick to the bottom of the pan, because when we deglaze, that's where we're going to get all of our flavor into our bisque. Now, I'm going to just add a pinch of salt to just help this along at this stage. Just really want to let our aromatics start to cook, start to soften. And you have to remember, we have some pretty hearty veg in here, not just the fennel, but the carrot, the celery, all of that. So I think actually we're starting to get that to a stage where we can add the tomato pulp. So I'll do that now. Stir that through. And I'm going to add a good bit of the pimentón. Now you could add cayenne if you wanted to at this point, if you wanted some extra kick. And I'm going to add all of our tomato paste, and I want that to cook out. So we just want to cook that through. And it looks a bit of a mess as you start to cook it, but I tell you, it's really worth it. So now that we have that tomato paste cooked out, I'm going to add our cognac, and yes, I'm going to flambé it. And you can't see it, but we do have flame. Oh, that really just adds another level of complexity. Right. So, add our white wine. It's about half a cup. I'm just going to increase the temperature a bit. The fragrance, I know, it's something you can't smell, but I want to tell you it is really intoxicating. That's what it is. It's intoxicating. So now, as that wine, the alcohol of that wine just starts to cook out, I'm going to add our crushed garlic, skin and all, and our bay leaf and our dried thyme. And give it a stir. And as soon as I can smell the garlic, I will add the fish stock to cover. And then this will cook. We'll bring it to a boil and we'll reduce it to a simmer, and it will cook for 45 minutes to an hour so that we can extract all the flavor and deliciousness from the aromatics and the carcasses from the langoustine. Got the hint of the garlic, and in goes our fish stock. So I'm just going to bring that to a boil, and then we'll cover it, reduce it, and let it simmer for 45 minutes to an hour. We're just waiting for that to come up to temp. Oh, I know I'm going on about the aroma, but it really is beautiful, truly. And this is our frond from the top of the fennel, which we'll use at the end as a garnish. Now, as that's coming up to temperature, I'm just going to give it a couple of good cracks of black pepper. And we're going to let this just cook. And we will strain it twice. First through a sieve to extract most of the bits, and then the second time through a fine sieve. And we'll reduce the bisque even more until it's a nice, beautiful, rich texture. We'll add a bit of cream, and we'll judge that. We've got about a quarter cup of cream. And then we'll check our seasonings at that stage. But I can tell you, it's really looking beautiful. Now, if you want, you can remove scum that comes to the top. You can just skim that off and throw that away. But this, at the moment, is looking very, very clean. Check it out. So as it starts to boil, we will cover this. We're simply going to use this to cover our pots. In fact, I'm going to leave it slightly ajar because we want some of that steam to escape, so we start to reduce. So join me when we get to a stage to strain this after the aromatics have done their job, given up their aroma and their flavor to our bisque, and then we'll take the final steps through. Our 45 minutes of simmering have finished, and now it's time to strain this for the first time. So I'm just going to take that and pour that through our sieve. And we're just going to let that drain as much of that liquid as we can. So I'm giving it a little press. You can see how much liquid, how much beautiful bisque we're getting out of this. So we'll let this drain for the first time, and then we will strain it for the second time with a fine sieve. And we'll do that into another saucepan. So now I'm going to pour this through the second finer sieve. Now, if you don't have a very fine sieve, you could use cheesecloth or something along those lines. You see, we're starting to just get the fine bisque and not anything else. So I'm going to turn this on and start it reducing as we drain all of that liquid through our sieve. I'm just going to let that rest there while I clean up a little bit. All right, we have strained this the second time through the sieve, and you can see how much pulp we've caught. So now it's just patience to reduce this to a beautiful rich sauce. So we'll take a little time and we'll reduce this by maybe 60%, because right now it's too thin, and I want that to intensify in flavor and to really be a nice fully developed bisque. Okay, we're just reducing our bisque and it's boiling fairly vigorously, but we want that to reduce. And I've skimmed some of the scum that I've seen floating to the top. So we should have a nice, beautiful, clean, delicious bisque in just a few minutes. So stick around to the end. If you've made it this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. Share this video with your friends and drop me a comment below in the box. Let me know what you think, and if you've ever made a bisque and what you enjoy about it, how you do it, if it's different than mine. I'd really like to know. So I'll just continue to reduce this. That's looking good. Okay, we've reduced our bisque, and now I have it just below a simmer, and I'm going to add in the cream. You don't want this boiling when you do this. In fact, it's better to take it off the heat, so I'm going to do that. And I'm just going to combine our cream into our bisque. So I'm going to just turn this off. We've incorporated the cream and we have a beautiful, delicious bisque, which I have some of our Langoustines that we reserved. And I'll add some of the frond from our fennel. And there we have it. A beautiful, delicious bisque. Well, it's time to taste this. Just want to get some of the bisque at first. Oh, that is beautiful. Really get the Pimentón. The Langoustine is beautiful and delicate. That is a delicious bisque. Well, thank you for joining me today here on Gary's Urban Larder. If you enjoyed today's recipe, please give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single recipe. And do share this video with your friends and help me to build this community. Well, until next time, bye-bye. It's really delicious.